right, everybody, I put together a brief presentation to explain what our purpose is as BYU chapters across our nation. And our number one goal and purpose is to become true blue chapters. That's what we're hoping for everyone. Well, we also want to encourage everyone to know that our goal is also to connect with all of our BYU alumni and students, to connect for good and to go forth to serve. So who are we going to be connected for? Well, we want to be connected for the good of the students, the good of alumni, and the good of BYU. So what is our why? If the purpose and the goal is to go forth and serve and do the good work of BYU, there's a couple of groups specifically that we would like to target and to help, and that is our alumni. And we want to help connect alumni together, to network together, provide service, enhance the spirit of BYU, and provide lifelong learning. The other group we really want to target, and probably in my opinion the most important, are our students. We really want to help raise some money for their replenishment grants so that the students in our local communities can attend BYU when otherwise they might not be able to. Also to provide meaningful internships and mentorships and help the students as they are working to go off to school. What can we do to help them? And also provide meaningful and fun send-offs. And some other successful things that we've done are some on-campus events during homecoming with the students within your local chapter areas here on campus. What are our key strategies to becoming true blue chapters? Well, one, the goal is to become a true blue chapter, and the second is to meet some performance standards. Some of those performance standards include becoming fully staffed, enter and update all your events at the beginning of each year into the website. And right now, those of you who have entered your events, it has auto-populated onto the main BYU alumni website. It's exciting to see all these events come to life. We're hoping that number 1 and number 2 will be completed by February 28th. We're also hoping, in order to become a true blue chapter, that you hold 3 more officer meetings per year, greet and engage all the attendees at your events, update your annual chapter report on a monthly basis to record your events and attendance, and Roy's going to cover that in just a moment. We're wanting you to submit a financial report 1 time a year, usually in January. Want you to be able to participate in your ongoing training events and monthly calls and chapter conference in the fall. And the monthly calls will sometimes be with us here at BYU as well as your regional directors. 8, we were hoping you would join and share all of your activities with us here, as well as putting them on social media. And we want you to inform us if there's some great thing you're doing. We also would like you to let us know so that we can be aware and share that with everyone here, and also be able to celebrate you. 9, we are hoping to complete 1 activity from each of the 4 True Blue activity categories. And what are those 4 categories? Well, in order to become a True Blue chapter, we're hoping that you will hold a meaningful event under each of these 4 categories. The first being student engagement. 2, alumni engagement. 3, having a meaningful event to enlarge the spirit of the Y in your local area. And last, hold an event to raise some money for replenishment grants for the students. And again, we want these to be meaningful events. And some of the ideas that we've put down here under student engagement would be a freshman send-off, some mentoring events for BYU students, an on-campus gathering or college fair. Under the alumni engagement, you might want to consider sponsoring or a networking event, coordinate with the BYU athletic team or a performance community group. You can host a speakers bureau or do a game watch party or tailgate. Under replenishment grants, there's so many different things you can do. I've listed a few here: golf tournament, a 5K run, a dinner, silent auction, and then you could even have an event where you award the recipients with a nice celebration. Under enlarging the spirit of the Y, you could recognize and celebrate a local alum within your community with a service award from BYU. You could do service projects, a small group event, a viewing event by watching women's conference. And again, these are just ideas, and you're free to come up with any other creative ideas that would fit into each of these categories. Last, we are here for you. We're cheering for you. We're excited for you. And we really, really do appreciate you. I've put our alumni website here as well as our direct line. You can ask for me, you can ask for Kelly or Roy or any of us, and we're glad to help answer and help you in any way we possibly can. Thank you again for all you do. And now I'm going to turn it over to Robert.
Thanks, Wendy, for sharing all of that. And for those of you that haven't got to know Wendy yet, we're lucky to have her on board here and the work that she's doing with our chapters and all of you, and just real excited to have her here. I'm just going to take a couple minutes to run through the replenishment grants and some information on those. We're going to give you a lot of information in a short amount of time. Like Kelly said at the beginning, we will have a small, short time for question and answer and be able to field more questions via email. So don't worry if you don't take it all in right now. We've got a long time to put all this together. So I just want to touch on a few important things about our replenishment grants and the process to go through there. So to participate in the Alumni Chapter Replenishment Grant, and when I say replenishment grant, that is our scholarship program through BYU Alumni and our chapters. You first have to have an organized chapter, and then that chapter needs to do a few things. First, you need to raise the awards or the funds for those awards, invite students to apply from your chapter, select the grant recipient by committee, award the grant, and then invite those recipients to continue to participate in your chapter and give back. The idea of a replenishment grant is that over time, when the student's able, that they will begin to give back to the university, just like the Perpetual Education Fund. So we'll start with that, raise award funds. Wendy covered quite a bit of different kinds of events that you'll do to become a tribute chapter. One part of all of those events could be fundraising. Different chapters do this in different ways, and you can see the list of the kinds of activities you can have as long as you can be creative and think up new events. But once you've raised funds that you want designated to be in your replenishment grant fund, you will work with Roy here in our office, or it says the alumni staff coordinator, that's Roy, that will help with that, get it into the right account so that those monies can be set aside for your replenishment grant. He'll show you some tools that we have so that you can see those account balances, and always everyone here at the office will help with that as well. As you do these activities, besides having an event where you might give one lump sum over, you can encourage your chapter members to donate directly to your chapter replenishment grant fund by going to give.byu.edu/chapter. And once there, you will find your chapter in the drop down, and you can give a direct donation into that replenishment grant account. So those are several ways on how you can raise funds and start to raise funds. Every chapter does it a little bit different, and that's okay. They have different kinds of events and different ways to solicit that. But once you've done that and you have a replenishment grant to be able to award, you will invite students to apply. And you can do this through email communication or word of mouth in your chapter. All these students, they're going to apply for it in the exact same process that they apply for any other scholarship. So the URL on my screen there is a little bit long to remember, but your students applying for any kind of financial aid will be aware of that as they log in to apply for financial aid. They're going to fill out all of the normal sections of financial aid. It includes personal information, essays, and a financial need as well as a FAFSA that everyone will be required to fill out. When they're at the end of that process, they will be invited to apply for any other scholarships beyond the scope of the normal scholarship office. The very first one they're invited to apply to is a chapter replenishment grant. And they will be on that screen. In the drop-down, they select the chapter that they belong to, and there'll be a few more fields for them to fill out, including a short essay about giving back. So the idea of giving back is with them already. So you get a pool of candidates. Our scholarship office actually collects all of those, and anyone who applied for a chapter replenishment grant, that file of all of those applicants is sent to our office, where Roy will sort those out and be able to give them to each chapter so that you have a list of of applicants that you can choose from. All the standard scholarship policies apply as far as being a BYU student, being in good standing, both academically and with the honor code and their ecclesiastical endorsement. So those normal criteria apply. Each chapter can use some of your own criteria in also selecting that. So you could decide that you want it to be more of a needs-based or an academic scholarship-based or leadership-based, but you can add and make your own criteria when you meet together as a committee. You do need to form a selection committee. There needs to be at least 3 people on that committee, and we recommend actually to have 5 or more to help with that. The spouses should not be on the committee together, and if there are any family members who have applied, you should recuse yourself from decision-making on that particular student. All of those kind of policies and rules are put in place so that we're okay with the IRS, with the scholarship office, and all tax issues. So we follow all those rules to keep everybody safe. Finally, once you've made a selection, you will forward that selection to the alumni office before May 10th of each year. And the amount of the award that you want to give each of those people and how many semesters that will be. We forward that on to the scholarship office. So to award it, we've got that name back. We're going to make sure that everything is clear with the scholarship office, and they might give us additional information. For example, if a student already is receiving a scholarship that we didn't know about, they might tell us, hey, they already have their tuition paid for. Do you still want to give this? And that final decision will be with the chapter on how they want to work with that. Once everything is clear, then we send the student notification through the university system. But then becomes a really important part where chapters get really involved. You know, you've done the selection, you've got people in there, but once somebody's selected, then you get to reach out to them and celebrate with them. We encourage you to do that in a variety of ways, however you feel best, but we want you to reach out, even possibly have some kind of public presentation to recognize the hard work of these students and that they're receiving that. And that comes into play really important as we get to inviting them to give back. So all repayment is voluntary. It is not contractual. It's a moral obligation to give back. And we as an office will not reach out to them until they've been graduated for at least 5 years. But as a chapter, if you continue having a relationship with these recipients and getting updates on them and invite them to participate once they graduate or even as a student, they'll be much more likely to be involved and be able to repay that. There's no timetable on the repayment, and any donation back to the school does count towards that repayment. But if you've developed that relationship with them, then you can assure that it's coming back into your chapter funds so that those funds can then again be used to help future students. This is a really great program that our chapters are running. Last year, in the last 2 years, we've given over 350 scholarships each year, and that's through your efforts and what all of our chapters are doing. And they come in small amounts at a time. That's what's amazing about the efforts of our chapters. This isn't major gifts and large donations. This comes in little bits at a time through the great events that you put on and through the great people in your chapters. And as all that adds up, it helps a lot of students and blesses a lot of people here at BYU. We are your partner in this and want to help you manage all of that appropriately so that we follow all the rules and can help the most amount of students. That is our replenishment grant. That's a quick rundown, a lot of information, I know, but we invite you to make that part of your True Blue plan. And I'm going to turn the time now over to Roy, where he'll talk about some of the reporting. Thanks.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm also going to share my screen with you. We're going to go through, there's several ways to get to this reporting system. And the first way I'm going to show you is through our homepage. So this is the homepage. Now, some of you I know are on telephone. I'll try to describe things as best I can, but Some of this is quite visual, so bear with me. I'll try to be as careful as I can. You go to alumni.byu.edu, get to our home page. Under Connect, there is the link for chapters. Opening the chapters page, you scroll down a little bit to this place called Chapterpedia. By the way, here there's also other things. There's the replenishment grant, a lot of the things that Robert just talked about, you can learn there as well. But you open Chapterpedia. In Chapterpedia, this is our encyclopedia of things that chapter leaders can use in everything they do. So there's a lot of information here, and I'm not going to go through any of this, but I encourage you to spend plenty of time with it. But down here at the bottom, there's a chapter leader's toolbox. So you open this toolbox, and this isn't supposed to do this. I'm going to log out. Okay, I'm going to log back in. So this will call you to log in. Now, here's the thing. If you don't have access to this, and you don't even know what your BYU Net ID is, this is the page you can create that. You can go to this Create a Net ID link, go through a couple of steps and create that Net ID. You will need to send that ID to me, and I will turn on the access for you to get into this section. Also, you'll notice you can get to this same thing by just going directly to alumni3.byu.edu. That is our toolbox. But anyway, so let's log in here. Now we're at the toolbox. You will see the things here on this left side. The ones on the right side, I have access to because of my job. You won't see all of those, but you will see this chapter leaders toolbox and all of these links. Just quickly, you can search here for the current students in your chapters, and from there, you can also email students in your chapters information about applying for replenishment grants, or inviting them to a party or a send-off or a gathering. Under the chapters things, there's several links here that are good. I encourage you to look at all of them, but you may especially want to pay attention to the replenishment grant link. This will show you all of the replenishment grants that your chapters have given in the past, and give you some information about those individuals. There's other things on here, submitting an email or an event to us through that form, the chapter email event webpage submission form. One thing you want to know, this chapter downloads is we've got a whole bunch of new things there, and there's all kinds of downloads for cards, for thank you cards, for letterhead, for envelopes, as well as logos, and we're in the stage of creating a bunch of new things there for you as well. So that's a lot of good information in downloads. Then you get down to chapter reports. This is what we're here to talk about right now. So the view, edit, and submit reports, you open that link, and this takes you to the opening page, and you select a chapter from this drop-down screen. I'm going to select Hartford, Connecticut, just because I know there's not hardly anything in there. And you hit continue to open it. Once it's open, you are now looking at your chapter dashboard. So there's 3 reports that are available to you here: the current roster, upcoming events, and then the financial overview. So let's look at these one at a time. There's different ways you can get into these. Let's look at the events first. You can open the View Submit button, or up at the top of the screen, there's the reports with the drop down, or you can just click on that report and have them all listed in a row here. So let's go to the events report first. So this is the events report, and this is what Wendy was talking about. We hope that you will use this as a tool. The way this is used is when you're ready to do an event, you come here. And this can be not only an event that's for the public, but this can be your meetings, a meeting to talk about replenishment grant recipients, all of those things, we want you to report on this because we want to know how many volunteers were involved and how many volunteer hours, and this is the way to report that. So you open the new entry screen and you have a drop down, then you can just fill this out. So we're going to say a game watch party is going on. Then you select the date. The important thing to know about the date, I'm just going to select February 25th. But the date is what determines what year this entry will go on to. So if you, right now, if you choose something in August or September of 2017, that's great, but just be aware that's going to go on next year's report. Because this year, 2016 and 17, is going from August through July of the next year. So this is in the current year. Then you select a time, and 7 p.m. seems to be a good enough time, so we'll do that. Location name, it's going to be someone's home, let's say. The address, 23 Ivy. And then you will select the event category. In this case, a game watch party is very likely going to be an alumni engagement, possibly enlarge the influence depending on who you're inviting and how that's going to happen. We're going to choose alumni engagement. Then what type of that, you have the option of game watch parties here. Now the rest of this, the number attended, the number of volunteers, and the volunteer hours that is donated to this event, that needs to be done after the event is over. You can come back into this, update it, then that entry is ready for your report, and you don't have to worry about that again for the rest of the year until it's time to submit. Now, the last thing down here, this note, if this is something you want on your web page, then there's a way to do that. But what you want to do first is add this as an event. So now we're back to the event page, and now the Game Watch Party is listed there. A couple of things you can do with that. If you want to send out an email about that, you click on this email link right over here, and that opens up a notification email for us. Now, my name is on here. Your name, if you're logged in as yourself, of course, it'll be your name, not mine. You put in the subject line that you want for your to submit for the email, and notice a lot of the basic information is already here. You don't have to worry about that. But down here, you may want to add whatever information you want. It's a potluck or whatever you may want to add to it. Is the registration? No, on this case. Sometimes you'll want us to take registration for you, or charge tickets, and so you can finish the rest of that information out down through there, and finally in the end submit that. So so that's the way you can enter an email from an entry that you've already made. Now let's go to the edit screen here. You're back to this same event that you entered before. However, at the bottom now, you can make a choice. Do you want this visible on the alumni website, on your web page? It's automatically set at no, but if you say yes, then you have some other options. So the title is there. Do you need to purchase tickets? Yes or no. If you say yes, then it will ask you for a link to where to get those tickets. And does the chapter member need to register online? No. If yes, then again, there's a registration link for you to add in there. And then again, you can indicate on that web page some of those descriptions that you want. Again, it's a potluck or whatever other information you want to put on there, and then you save those changes. Now what that does, that enters it to us. It indicates here that is now visible on the web page, and I get notified of that, and then I will go in, and usually within a day or so I'll push the button and that will be visible to you. So that's the way you do reports. The important thing about this is to go back in add in those attendance numbers, the volunteer numbers, the volunteer hours. And as you do that through the year, as this report grows and grows and grows, you can see the total attendance and the volunteers and the volunteer hours as they grow, as it grows through the year. So when it comes time to submit this report, you see I can't submit it now, but in that last month, we'll turn that on and you can submit it. Then all you have to do is make sure that the entries you already have are correct, and you press that submit button, and your annual reports for events are completed. So that's how you run the event system. Now quickly, let's look at the leadership roster. Now the leadership roster, this is something that you can update anytime during the year. If there's a change, let's say that you have a new vice chair for social media, and you can come in and you can edit this one position at a time. So you open the edit button, put in the name, you can add the image, a picture of that person, and then put in their email address and their phone number. And if it's a mobile number, and they want to be able to take text, and you just click the yes, and then save those changes. And then other positions where you can click you can edit that, and you can add positions as you need, and as many different ones as you might need. And then again, you can save those edits. So again, the important thing with the roster is we want that information as current as possible. So as soon as you know of changes, please come in, make that change. These will be automatically uploaded to your web pages. It might take a couple of hours, but it is done without me having to print or do anything. This is entirely up to you as to getting this corrected on the web pages. Now back to the reports. The last one is the financial report. Now here you'll notice it's set for 2017. We've just completed 2016, and so the reports for 2016 were important to do. If you haven't done those yet, and this is reporting on money that is in your local accounts, not money that is here at BYU, but is in a local account that you may have. If that's the case and you want to create a 2016 report, you click the View All Reports button, and then there's a drop down, and you can select 2016, and that then creates that report. So you can go back and do 2016 even now if it has not been done. But let's quickly look at 2017. What we do with these reports, you enter the beginning balance. It should be the same as the end of last year, but since it's kind of a new program, you'd enter that balance. And then as you go through the year, again, have your treasurer or yourself come back in. And if you have some income, just say, okay, this came from tickets. And how much was it? Well, it was $10. Okay, so you add that income. And so then you have an entry as income. But along with that, you had some expenses. What was that for? Well, let's say food, and that was $5. So you add that as an expense. So you have a running total here, a dual entry balance sheet that you can control through the year. If you do that all year long, then when it comes time to submit the 2017 financial report, that will be in January of 2018. You should have all of this done. Again, all you have to do is check it over, make sure that it's correct, and then at that time the button will be turned on and you can submit that as your report. So what we're trying to do with this program is make it a tool that you can use all year long to help your roster, to update your events, to keep your finances, so that as you have meetings through the year, you have the information in front of you and you can show people and talk to people. and then at the end of the year, the submitting the reports should be very easy to do. I'm going back out. Kelly, I'm turning it back to you. That's for questions.
All right, thanks Roy, and thanks Wendy, and thanks Robert. So as you see, we've sort of gone a few minutes over. For those of you who need to leave the call, please feel free, but I'll still do question and answer for about 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, just chat them to me, and I will start answering those questions or referring you to the correct person. First question is, are we able to do local bank accounts yet? Roy, I'm gonna turn that one over to you because you have a better understanding of what's going on with that.
No, Weston, we're not. We're still in the process of working out some of those details, but BYU does not want us to use our net ID at this time. So their TIN at this time. So we hope that that's cleared up soon.
All right, can you also answer the question if financial reports are done on the calendar year?
Yes. Financial reports for your local money is done on the calendar year, but the activity reports, the events, are done on a school year basis. So we go August through July for events.
Okay, to answer a couple other questions, if you've been holding meetings, you can backdate them on the chapter reports to when those meetings are. That's completely fine. And yes, we will be sending out the slides to everyone who, so you can have them for your reference. We will also be posting the slides onto chapter PDF. Thank you so much for giving us a half hour of your time. This will be available to review. Once we have it, we will be posting it onto the website. And if you have any questions and if you can think of any future trainings, please let us know. Again, thank you for your time. And our next training is a month from today, March 7th, and we will be focusing on engagement and outreach. So thank you so much for your time and have a great night.